All right, so for today, I am kicking it off with a recipe inspired by one of my favorite restaurants ever, the Rokerij. Super excited to make this meal for you today, and it's a very easy recipe, so be sure to stay tuned throughout the total video because this is going to be a great one. Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of Hungry Without a Cause. I am very excited to offer you solid recipes that are bold, flavorful, and they meet gourmet simplicity. That is my goal here. And today's recipe, we're gonna be going on an adventure with a very solid steak recipe that will definitely be packed full of so much flavor. Feels like you got punched by it at the end of the day. And so today's recipe is gonna be based off of a restaurant that I really love. It's back in Phoenix, Arizona. I no longer live in Arizona anymore, but my wife and I used to go here for every one of our anniversaries, and I can't tell you enough. It's such an amazing restaurant. It's called the Rokerij. If you live in the Phoenix area or you're visiting, definitely go to this restaurant. They have a sister restaurant that's actually upstairs called Richardson's, and in the basement is called the Rokerij. And they both have similar menus, but they do different twists and stuff. But today's recipe, I am making a tomahawk steak with sweet potato mash in a poblano chili, and there's gonna be green chilies in the sweet potato mash, and then some bok choy. Now, this is something that you can get there, and it is phenomenal. So I can't mirror their recipe, but I'm gonna get as close to because I deeply enjoy their food and I want it back. Hope someone's all right. Well, sorry about the sirens, but I'm gonna get started. Let's go ahead and make this. This is a tomahawk steak, and you don't have to use a tomahawk steak for this recipe. Use whatever steak you want for your budget, but I'm going to use a tomahawk steak because that's often the thing I would always get at the Rokerij, and I'm going to salt and pepper it very heavily before I put it on the grill. So I'm going to salt and pepper this right now, set it aside, and make sure I get all sides covered before it hits that hot grill. While the steak is resting, I'm going to go ahead and get a pot of water here, and I'm going to heat it up to a boil while adding in my slices of sweet potatoes, and then this is going to become part of the sweet potato mash that I will show you later on in the video. All right, so I'm going to dice up a whole white onion. This is going to be part of our Bok Choy Chowder that I'm going to be making in this video. That's not really a dish that's really at the Rokerij. It's just they like to use a lot of bok choy as a side dish, and I was like, hey, maybe I can make a nice chowder out of it. So just want to dice this up, and then I'll start working on the bok choy. Now these have been rinsed, and I'm just going to give these a nice slice and then dice them up real fine before I start making that chowder. Now, I like my steaks rare. Before I start any type of fatty steak on the grill, I like to render down the fat. So I'm searing the fat cap first, rendering some of that fat away. There's not too much on this one. And then I'm going to go ahead and flip it a couple times. It's only going to be flipped once each side. So ultimately, cook the steak to your liking and make sure you check proper temperature guidelines for that. But this one is going to be rare for me. Now that I've flipped the steak, I'm going to go ahead and baste it a little bit with some garlic butter and rosemary here that I have melted down. And I'm just going to gently baste this and get a good coating of that butter on the steak. Okay, so to a pot, I'm going to go ahead and start heating this up over medium heat, and I'm going to add in about 2 to 3 tablespoons of avocado oil. You can use olive if you want, it's up to you, but I like to use avocado oil. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add in those diced onions that we had earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and saute these lightly. I just want to get them a little translucent. And then I'm going to add in the bok choy as well. Alright, so now that the bok choy is very soft and so are the onions, I'm going to add in about 2 cups of chicken stock. And you can use whatever kind of stock you want. I'm just going with chicken. It's very neutral, it's very delicious, and it'll work really well in this chowder. So let's keep going, and you can add a little bit more chicken stock if you feel like it. It's up to you. It's your recipe, so definitely feel empowered. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add in about 2 tablespoons of roasted garlic paste. You can use regular garlic, diced, minced, whatever you want. I'm just going with roasted garlic for this one. I like the paste, and I like the taste that this roasted garlic paste has. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. So you can do 1 to 2 tablespoons of soy sauce to taste here. And then, of course, crushed black pepper. We want to add that in. You can use powdered if that's all you have. Feel free, but I prefer crushed. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in our cream. So I'm using heavy whipping cream here. And I would say maybe a half a cup of this. I'm really doing this to taste and feeling it out as it goes. And I'm going to mix this all up real quick here. Now to work on our mashed potatoes. So for our sweet potatoes, what I'm going to be doing is using a potato ricer. If you don't have one of these, that's perfectly fine. Just mash them how you normally do. I just really like the way they come out with this. So what is really common at the Rokerij and their sister restaurant, Richardson's, is their use of green chilies. They use it a lot. And so in their sweet potato mash, they do add green chili. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a can of diced green chilies here, followed up with a 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream because we want this really, really rich. And then a tablespoon of butter, and then salt and pepper to taste. Remember, it's always to taste when it comes to salt and pepper for you and me and everyone else, because everyone's level of how much pepper they want is different. I can't believe how many people I've met that don't like a lot of pepper. I love a lot of pepper. So I'm using about 2 tablespoons here, and then about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of salt. I'm then going to add this to a sliced poblano. I slice it right down the middle, and then top it off with some cotija cheese. All right, and we are done. Here's our steak. Here is the mashed potatoes with the sweet potatoes, and we also have our bok choy chowder that I just made. We're gonna go ahead and taste these and see how it all came out. All right, so here we are. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a bite out of the steak right now. I'm very excited about this. A little cut out. That is awesome. That is every way I remember it. All right, I'm gonna take a bite out of the potatoes that we made, the sweet potatoes. So good. So good. Okay, next, last but not least, I'm gonna go ahead and take a bite out of the soup that we made, the bok choy chowder, of all things, right? Wow. I think I'm sold. I'm a clam chowder person, but that bok choy chowder, wow. All right. Well, please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below, because this is something I've been waiting to make for a long time. I'm very excited about this, and definitely try it out. Let me know how it comes out, and yeah, let's keep cooking.